So is it? It's not.
What is it on us, dude?
Well, if there's like anything, have a look on the
In 2015, pilots flying off the east coast of America spotted this.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Look at that thing, dude.
Are we alone in this vast, never-ending universe? Or is NASA covering up for aliens and whatever else is lurking out there? Do UFOs actually exist? Or is this an illusion of the mind? Just recently, scientists detected advanced alien objects entering the atmosphere. Although we're all used to possible alien sightings, we just keep getting closer and closer. This question is constantly on our mind. Is NASA hiding UFO evidence? Rumors fly after video feed on the International Space Station cuts out at a critical time. Let's find out more about it in today's video. It happened on July 9th. Just as NASA posted a video feed from the International Space Station that showed an unknown bright spot near the corner of the stream, the video feed interrupted, leading to rumors that NASA is once again trying to hide the fact that UFOs exist. Unfortunately, NASA's reassurances that the video feed interruption is a common occurrence weren't enough to calm everyone's nerves. Believers in UFOs argue that this latest alleged cover-up is easily explained by the US government's long history of similar events. There have been numerous reports, mostly from the US Navy, of ships and fighter jets coming into contact with or being tailgated by unidentified flying objects, and the US Department of Defense has been quietly cataloging and investigating these reports for over a decade. In 2017, videos and accounts of these strange sightings began making their way into the public eye, prompting Congress to demand that the Pentagon produce a report summarizing all that the US government knows about so-called unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, an alternative term with considerably less stigma than the much maligned UFOs. Did you know out of the 144 incidents, the Pentagon found that 18 of them had unusual flight characteristics? Lou Elizondo, the whistleblower in charge of a secret Pentagon program investigating UFOs in 2017, elucidated 5 observables. Sudden and instantaneous acceleration with no visible signs of propulsion, anti-gravity lift, hypersonic velocities without signatures, low observability or cloaking, and transmedium travel, going from the ocean straight into the air, for example. Unfortunately, the Department of Defense, scientists, and the media have a history of dismissing UFO reports in favor of more closed-off research. And this isn't the first time this happened. UFOs and aliens among us. Let's rewind to the 1940s and 1950s. Flying saucer reports became a cultural phenomenon in the United States. Hollywood used reports of unexplained sky phenomena as fodder for imagining a variety of threats. Those concerns were depicted on movie posters as early as 1956, with films like Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Flying saucers have come to symbolize the hopes and fears of modern society because of their association with persistent theories of extraterrestrial life, the existence of canals on Mars, and the existence of Martian civilizations. But is NASA hiding something about the existence of aliens? For that, we need to analyze a few key things. Assessing the alien hypothesis. The media has paid a lot of attention to all this oddness recently, from front-page stories in the New York Times to 13,000-word articles in the New Yorker, not to mention prominent coverage on 60 Minutes and other primetime television shows. A sizable group of believers has remained unwavering in their "we told you so" claims, convinced that the objects seen allegedly slipping through our skies are in fact alien spacecraft that have been visiting Earth for a very long time under the guise of UFOs or UAPs. Given the public's strong convictions and the government's renewed interest in investigating these cases, wild theories may emerge. Irrefutable evidence that extraterrestrial civilizations exist and keep tabs on humanity may soon lead to a public announcement of this fact. Or perhaps UAP are entirely homegrown, the result of revolutionary and clandestine technological advances made either by countries now challenging American airspace or by the United States as part of some super-secret domestic program designed to detect flaws in the nation's defenses. No big reveal. NASA agrees with the scientific community's general consensus that the media has paid too much attention for too long to the possibility that unexplained lights in the sky are actually alien spacecraft. Misleading news coverage about UFOs based on military reports has increased dramatically as of late. When you take a close look at these claims with some objectivity, you'll see that they don't hold up to the scrutiny. Sightings of UFOs can be explained away as lights from human-made vehicles or re-entering space junk, provided enough evidence is presented, which many of the recent reports arguably fail to provide. There is not going to be any big reveal. The government cannot disclose information it does not possess. And since there are no aliens on Earth, there is nothing to reveal. While there are those who believe the government has more information about unidentified aerial phenomena than the public at large, evidence suggests otherwise. Real issues. Analyzing the recent flurry of UAP videos released by the United States military and persistently looking into the possibility that some of the incidents are actually mirages caused by flaws in newly deployed radar systems, as well as various types of well-understood visual artifacts regularly seen in cameras. To begin, there is a collection of serious problems that could be summed up as unidentified aerial phenomena or unidentified flying objects. When an unidentified flying object enters a flight corridor, it presents a serious problem that needs to be addressed immediately. He points out that there have been numerous reports of drones in or near prohibited zones. Drones have already been used in terrorist attacks, and they will likely play an important role in future wars as well. There is a pressing need to develop methods for detecting and counteracting such threats. Another serious problem is that pilots may mistakenly identify objects they see in the sky that they have trouble identifying. This is a problem regardless of what these pilots see. The disclosure feedback loop. These legitimate UAP concerns are being encroached upon by proponents of alien disclosure. These believers reinterpret ordinary videos of unidentified events as proof of extraordinary technology, by which they mean aliens. Even if advocates of this hypothesis won't use those words. This fosters believable media coverage, which in turn generates public interest, more media, and ultimately pressure on politicians to, quote, do something. To this day, the military has remained silent, as has become standard practice. When it comes to the military, things are assumed to be classified, and there is no incentive for them to explain themselves. Wait and see. One person who is taking a wait-and-see attitude about the upcoming report is Ravi Kumar Kopparapu, a research scientist in planetary studies at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. Remembering that the scientific studies of UAP in the United States go back further than the recently released video clips is helpful, he says, because it shows that we can't generalize about the phenomenon. It's not just a problem for the United States, and it's not limited to what the military here sees. It's possible that not a single theory can account for all of these findings. My advice is to wait until the report is released before drawing any firm conclusions, Kopparapu says. More experts and scientists can look at the report and hopefully come to a scientific consensus on the nature of some of the unexplained events, if the data that informed it is made public. Otherwise, legitimate scientific inquiry into UAPs will always be clouded by conspiracy theories. Marc Rodigier, the scientific director of the Center for UFO Studies, shares this view, arguing that transparency should be given top priority in any future investigations. We don't know if the UFO issue is an intelligence one due to foreign adversaries, but we do know that given its long history, it's a scientific problem that needs to be taken seriously, he says. The government and the scientific community should look into UFOs without bias and with an open mind, because the subject has been ignored, downplayed, and ridiculed for too long. Wanted. Scientific inquiry. Astrophysicist at Harvard University Avi Loeb has said that the report's significance will be determined by the evidence it presents, much of which is currently unknown. But as he points out, relying so heavily on old news articles is a mistake. It would be prudent to progress forward with our finest instruments rather than examine past reports. It would be much more productive to deploy cutting-edge recording devices like cameras or audio sensors at the locations where the reports came from and search for unusual signals, rather than relying on documents that reflect decades-old technologies used by witnesses with no scientific expertise. Loeb goes a step further, saying he's willing to sign up to help unravel the UFO saga. Personally, I will be glad to lead scientific inquiry into the nature of these reports and advise Congress accordingly, he says. A federally appointed committee or a privately funded expedition are both viable options. Bringing more scientific rigor and credibility to the debate would be its primary goal. History repeats itself. For some seasoned investigators, the current dust-up over an influential government report on UFOs is a reminder that eventually, everything old becomes new again. To put it another way, if you think there could be a real alien spaceship among a pile of photos you were given, but you know that some of the photos are fakes, then it is very hard to prove that any single one of them is proof of an alien visitation. The truth is out there. Sarah Scholes is author of the recently published book, They Are Already Here, UFO Culture and Why We See Saucers. Although the report's full details remain to be seen, she senses it will not be as revelatory as some hope. At various times during the 20th century, the military has undertaken studies of UFOs to determine largely whether what people are seeing represents a national security threat, Scholes says. This report doesn't, then, seem seminal, because it's doing a 21st century version of that same thing. That said, Scholes feels an unbiased analysis of available data could shed light on the true frequency of UAP observations, and perhaps on the characteristics and possibly identities of these sightings. One problem with UFO-UAP research is that it often doesn't resemble traditional scientific research in terms of rigor, she says. The task force report could quantify and analyze a wide swath of data, Scholes hopes, with the requisite background knowledge of sensor capabilities, current domestic and foreign military capabilities, and so on. If so, that would be a welcome change from previous high-profile studies, she concludes. Where does this leave us? The truth, of course, is somewhere out there, whether or not it appears in the pages of the UAP Task Force report. But for now, the odds seem to be against the US government knowing what it is, let alone revealing it anytime soon. That pretty much wraps this video up, guys. Thanks for watching. Do you think UFOs actually exist or not? Share with us in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel with a bell notification if you enjoy watching our content. We upload some awesome stuff here which you will most certainly enjoy. Hit a like on this video and leave a comment below. See you guys in the next one.